And we're live. Excellent, excellent. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Skyrim Special Edition. Last time, I believe we left off after I finished exploring bandit camps and Ember Shard Mine and what have you, and we just made our way into Riverwood. Next on the agenda, so to speak, is to actually explore that town. So, I see no reason not to jump right in and get started. I know the people who are watching later on the VOD on YouTube or otherwise would certainly appreciate that. Hi, Karis. Welcome in. It's a pleasure to see you. As always. I don't really know how long I'm going to go today. I'm essentially just killing time until my dad gets home from work. And then I'm going to help him load up some furniture, and then I'm gonna skip town and go have dinner with my girlfriend. But until he shows up, we're playing Skyrim. That's how we're doing it today. Hi, Living King. It's good to see you. Welcome back. We are here in Riverwood. My usual pattern for exploring a town is first of all to check the entire exterior for everything that might have utility. So that, of course, includes all this food. Check these barrels, since they're free to take. Out to the bridge is a pretty good town border, so to speak, at least on this side. We'll get all the salmon off of the rack here. There should be some bees flying through the air, because there's an actual not vacant beehive here. Beehive husk and honeycomb, don't mind if I do. I hear another bee. I hear it. I want it. There it is. Got it. Okay, here we have a fly amanita, and here comes Durak. Because we're already level 10, we're going to kick off the Dawnguard quest line. So here we go.
You there. The Dawnguard is looking for anyone willing to fight against the growing vampire menace. What do you say?
Find out about the Dawnguard. New miscellaneous objective. What's the Dawnguard?
We're vampire hunters. We search out and destroy those blood-sucking scum wherever we find them.
I haven't noticed any vampire menace.
You're not paying attention then, like almost everyone else around here. Haven't you heard that the Hall of the Vigilance was destroyed by vampires? They never took the threat seriously, and now they paid the price.
Vigilance? Dawnguard? What are you talking about?
The Vigilance mostly hunt down Daedra worshippers, which is why they got torn to pieces when they went up against vampires. That's why our leader, Izran, is re-establishing the Dawnguard. Real, serious vampire hunters.
Killing vampires? Where do I sign up?
Ha! Izran's going to like you. Go talk to him at Fort Dawnguard, southeast of Riften. He'll decide if you're Dawnguard material.
Hey, Steven. Alright, so we've completed the miscellaneous quest, find out about the Dawnguard. And now our journal has Dawnguard. I've learned of a group of vampire hunters known as the Dawnguard. It seems they are looking for new recruits. Speak with the leader of the Dawnguard. There it is. Started. Dawnguard. Speak with the leader of the Dawnguard. Alright. So, I'm only in the remember, I'm only in the business of stealing things that are useful to me. Because it's going to be a while before I can sell off the stuff. So, nothing Durak is carrying needs to be stolen, so I'll leave him be. I'll try talking to him again, though.
Report to Izran at Fort Dawnguard, and get moving if you're serious about it. The vampires aren't going to wait around to make their next move. Glad you decided to give it a try. I hope Izran likes you. If you're here to join up, you need to see Izran. He's up at the fort, talking to some vigilant. This better be good.
Alright, that's it for Durak. But here is Embry. So I will take his gold, his lockpicks, and his key to the Sleeping Giant Inn.
No more.
Well, maybe. I have to be careful. Hannah! Hello! Thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate that. 5 whole months. Welcome back. It's so good to see you. We'll call that a late birthday gift. I like it very much. I'll take his lockpicks. I'll take his key. Let me see now. I have some wine I can give him, so I don't need to steal his wine. So yeah, we can go ahead and do Embry's little quest.
Out of my way, stranger. What are you staring at? Need something?
Here, have a drink on me. Oh, Stephen, thank you.
Mead?
I appreciate the birthday wishes. I'm going to give him a Nord mead, because it's the least valuable.
Until next time.
He's my friend now. We have actually completed a small favor quest. It's repeatable. There are many people in the game who have it. It is actually, I kid you not, in the creation kit, it is called the quest all drunks have. And we have just completed it for Embry. So there we go. We have a friend in town, and we've done a favor quest. Hannah, thank you very much for the birthday wishes as well. Stump! Dog. Alright, let's talk to Frodnar, since he's here.
I heard Lucan yelling the other day about a thief breaking into a store. It wasn't me, honest. You're new around here, so I'll go easy on you. But don't get on my bad side. Get me mad? Good dog. Ugh, everybody around here is so serious. So I like to have a little fun. So what? My friend Dorothy doesn't like my pranking. You're being mean, Frodnar. So what if I am? Mother wants me to work at the mill, but I ain't nobody's slave. You gotta have better things to do than talk to me all day.
True enough, kid. Alright. Finish picking up stuff around the inn. Now here is Girder. We can actually chop wood for her. I'm going to pickpocket her gold. Oh, we can't chop wood for her. We can chop wood for her husband. Hod. My mistake. I do want her gold, though. Let's be clear. I've gotten used to the fact that they play a small portion of their animation before it actually loads in. You can tell by the sound cue. So she'll get a couple steps away from you. Unless that's why I'm hitting the console key during the load screen, just to try and avert that. Take her gold. Take her house key. Take her lockpick. Why is that, Lemon King? I'm curious. I want her ruby. Karmic rebalance for my pickpocket luck. Truly. I want her ruby. That's only a 1 in 3 if I'm undetected. That's because I'm rolling with 15 pickpocket right now. And I believe I don't need the Ring of Minor Magicka. 8% if I am detected. Oof. I mean, 1 in 10 isn't so horrendous, but I would definitely rather go with 1 in 3. There we go. Nice. And pickpocket increased to 19. I like that too. Alright, let me check my enchanting effects list right quick. I want to be sure, but I think I already have Fortify Magicka. I do. So that means there is no need to get her ring.
Lucan over in the river.
Just talk to me.
New to Riverwood? If you're looking for work, go see Hod at the mill. Lucan over in the Riverwood Traders says thieves broke into his store. Strange. He says they hardly took anything. We're a small village, but we work hard and take care of our own. I own the lumber mill and pay a fair wage. See my husband Hod if you're looking for work. Only worry we've got is the war reaching this far. Years passed. The lumber was used for houses or furniture. Now, the soldiers just buy it all. The thought of my wood being used for weapons makes me sick. No use thinking of things I can't change. Too much work to be done. Yeah?
What can you tell me about Riverwood?
It's my mill. Some folks thinks it's my town too, but it ain't. The Jarl in Whiterun owns the land and the town. I just pay the taxes.
Is there somewhere I can buy fresh supplies?
And by supplies, I suppose you mean weapons and armor? Alvor can help you out. He's our blacksmith.
Alright.
Aye.
Thanks, Girder. We'll do this right quick, and then we'll deal with Sven.
Yes?
I want his gold. Very nice. I want his house key. I want his lockpick. And I am pretty confident I don't have Fortify Illusion, so I need that ring. We're gonna have to roll the 1 in 10 chance to get it. And there we go. That raised pickpocket by 4 ranks. 4, if you're wondering. Let's talk to Sven.
Get away from me. Feindal thinks he can woo Camilla Valerius away from me. She's already mine, I keep telling him. You look like a traveler. Someone that has seen faraway places and heard new stories. Until next, you should come hear me play at the Sleeping Giant Inn. For a small sum, you can even pick the song. I've been trained as a skald, as was my father and my father's father before him. My time at the Bard's College was brief. A prodigy has little need for formal education. I'm composing a new song, a ballad for Camilla Valerius. I'd better get going. Someday Camilla will know my affections. Someday. Oh, yes?
I saw a dragon in Helgen.
Truly? So maybe my mother isn't crazy after all. You had best tell the Jarl in Whiterun. He needs to know about this.
Is there somewhere I can buy fresh supplies?
Lucan's got a little bit of everything at the Riverwood Trader. If you need weapons or armor, see Alvor, the blacksmith.
You and Feindal both like the same girl.
Camilla Valerius knows I'm the best man in Riverwood. That elf is kidding himself if he thinks she would choose him over me. I've seen him sneaking over to the Riverwood Trader to speak with her when I'm not around. He's wasting his time.
He sounds persistent. Why not do something about it?
You may be right. Camilla may see Feindal as little more than a friend, but why take chances? Here, give Camilla this letter. It's full of venomous nonsense. Tell her it's from Feindal.
Deliver Sven's letter to Camilla, or optional, tell Feindal about Sven's letter. So this is a miscellaneous quest. This is the famous lovely letter quest. We can resolve one of 2 ways. I always resolve it in Feindal's favor because he's a much, much more useful ally than Sven is. And that's generally the bottom line for me. Steven, I've gotten 1 ethereal on my Crusader. It dropped at level 8. And I've got 2 already on my Demon Hunter. They dropped at level 7 and at level 11. Hannah, this is a pretty new playthrough. This is my 3rd Skyrim stream. I'm doing legendary difficulty with no fast travel, and I have consoled out carry weight because item management and inventory management is where fun goes to die, as far as I'm concerned. So we've done a lot of kiting and whatnot because we're on legendary at low levels. We had to take out a group of Thalmor and a group of hired thugs already, and those were very, very difficult fights. They took like an hour or 90 minutes each, but I got through them and I made my way to Riverwood, so here we are. Let's read Sven's fake letter from Faendal. Dear Camilla, I know I have called upon you at your house many times, and while we may be growing close, I need you to put any desires you have for me aside. I am a true-born son of Valenwood, and I could never befoul my bloodline by courting an Imperial. I hope we can remain true friends, provided you understand your people's place in the Aldmeri Dominion and respect me as such. Sincerely, Faendal. Full of venomous nonsense indeed. Wow, Sven. Okay, let me take that one off my yield book list. Always good. Alright, let's go ahead and chat with Faendal. Let's start by picking his pocket. The only useful thing he has is the key to his own house. So I'll lift that. And we'll talk.
Keep your hands to yourself. Riverwood's agreeable enough, I suppose, for a Nord village. There's beauty here unmatched in all of Skyrim, to be sure. Maybe you've already met Camilla Valerius. If only Camilla shared my affections, or even knew about them. Are you a hunter by chance? The hills surrounding the village are ripe with game. I work at the lumber mill, but I escape into the forest whenever possible. I miss Valenwood, but the wilds here are serviceable. I don't like to brag, but I once took down a bear at 300 yards in a blizzard. What do you need?
Sven wanted me to deliver this letter to Camilla, saying it was from you.
What is that blowhard up to now? So, he thinks he can turn Camilla against me. Two can play at this. Here, give this letter to Camilla and tell her it's from Sven. Let's see what she thinks of him after reading that.
Alright, completed. Optional, tell Faendal about Sven's letter. Deliver Faendal's letter to Camilla.
Good day.
Alright, so we're not actually committed yet. We can still side with Sven by telling Camilla that Faendal's letter is a lie. Let's go ahead and read Faendal's letter right quick. Faendal's fake letter from Sven. My dearest Camilla, I yearn to have you as my own, washing my linens and my fine blonde hair, to cook my dinner from my stove and tend to my house while I wander. Yours truly, Sven. Alright. We'll take that one off my book list right quick. And then we have Hildy out here. We can go ahead and check her pockets and speak with her. Which I always a good time. Let's go. I need her gold. I need her key. And I need her lockpick. Oh man, it's a lockpick. Settle down. Lemming, I think you might be right about the karmic rebalance in Diablo 3 for my Skyrim pickpocket luck, because my goodness. Granted, I'm detected, but still, it shouldn't be this hard to roll a 4 in 10 chance. I'm barely not 50-50. Look at this. This is this game's version of potion failing. It's especially asinine that you can never, ever, ever get your pickpocket odds above 90%. Like, it's kind of... There's a level at which it's realistic to always have a chance to fail at picking pockets, but come on. Alright, there.
Keep your hands
Now
to
we can
yourself.
talk to Hildy.
Did you hear? The Riverwood trader was robbed. Poor Lucan must be torn to pieces over it. Nobody believes me, but I tell you, I saw a dragon.
Oh, I believe you.
By shore, what do you want? It's my boy Sven you need to listen to. He sings at the inn most every night. Sven has the voice of a snowlark. Only good thing he got from his father. My boy fancies that Camilla Valerius. She'll come around soon enough. Camilla, I've seen her talking to that Faendal. Filthy elf needs to keep to his own kind. What's happened to my Skyrim? Everywhere you look, cats, lizards, and elves. It's sickening. I raised my Sven to be strong and proud. A true Nord. Make it quick.
Alright, that's it for her. I'm gonna try to finish the exterior before I go inside any buildings. Let's do everything else that we can do outside. Just looting containers and what have you. It's honest work, if a bit dull. Hod and Girder's house has a somewhat more valuable item in the form of the chicken's egg we can harvest here. I'm actually going to go ahead and chop a little wood just to have that done so I can give it to Hod when I see him and immediately make friends with him and Girder. Boy, do I wish there was a way to speed this up. I've already spoken to Girder. So we'll check out Faendal's house over here. Yoink. We'll be friends with him, so anyone we're going to make friends with, it's kind of pointless to loot their house before you make friends with them. Because a lot of the things that you would have to steal, you just get to take and actually own instead. Alright, I think these 2 barrels will do it for this side of the river, save the blacksmiths, which is where we'll go next. Not inside, just out here. Alright, so we can take the steel dagger, and the iron boots, and the iron gauntlets. I have better than all that already. We can take 5 steel ingots and 5 iron ingots, which is great. Those are all on my gear list. That was 5 iron. Guess what, guys? I only need 768 more iron ingots. And I only need 115 more steel ingots in order to build all the Hearthfire stuff. Practically there already. Yeah, no kidding. Alright, let's do that. And now we'll cross the river. Faendal's working over here. That's all well and good. Pick up these ingredients. I'm not going to do crafting until I am... Because I'm playing without carry weight, the idea is I'm going to take advantage of crafting stations as I come across them. So right now we have access to all of the smithing crafting stations, like all of them, and an alchemy lab in Riverwood. So I'm going to do an alchemy and sort of smithing session. I don't really have enough materials to do much smithing yet, but I'm going to do that on my way out of town after I do everything else I can do and I'm ready to leave. Now let's see. Hod is not out here yet. Okay. So I'm going to leave the inn for last. The next place I should go is... So let me phrase it this way. Places where I need to go to actually do things are Alvar and Sigurd's house, the inn, and the Riverwood Trader. That leaves as extraneous Hod and Gerder's house, Faendal's house, and Sven and Hildy's house. We will become friends with both Hod and Gerder and with Faendal. So Sven and Hildy is the only house that is currently ripe to rob that I have no real need to visit later. So, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to pick that lock. And yet, goat horns. Goat horns! Oh, flippin' goat horns! Okay, so, in order to get the lock-picking experience for this, I'm gonna put away my keys to Sven's house for now. I need to manage to get hidden. Which usually just involves waiting for Hildy to get up and go to the porch instead of sitting in her chair like this. I'll tell you what. I'm waiting for her to get up. Rather than just dink around idly, I'm going to go ahead and make friends with Hod and Gerder and tackle their house right quick. No,
Trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend?
Steven, I do not have any mods on. The only thing I've done is mod out, and I didn't even mod. I consoled out carry weight. Or more accurately, I consoled my maximum carry weight so high it's never going to matter. Alright, I want your gold.
Oh no!
I want your house key. I want your lockpick.
You need to leave now. Got business here in Riverwood, eh? There are worse villages. At least the damned war hasn't gotten here. Yet. We work hard.
Tried to do right by our families. Alright, well I got Hod out of his own house. So now I can finish talking to him. Vixen, hi! So good to see you. Lone Wonder, welcome.
Me?
I've got my axe, my wife Gerder, and my boy Frodnar. I've got all I need.
Woodcutting's my trade. Best log splitter from here to Riften. It's all in the way you hold the axe. Caress it, like any wench, and she'll do you right. You met Camilla yet? Wouldn't mind getting my hands on those trunks. Well, I'll let you go about your business.
Yeah? I have firewood to sell.
Honest gold for honest work.
Alright, there we go. Now we're friends with Hod and Gerder. So we'll take their little favor off my quest list. That is chop wood for Hod, and it is done now. Alright. Vixen! How are you? How is life? How's the world treating you? How have your streams been going? I'm going really well. I'm doing really well. I'm enjoying the game. I had a job interview earlier this afternoon that I believe went really well. I'm excited about that. and I have found myself with a few open hours. And I thought, no, I wasn't expecting to have this time. I'm truly just killing time until my dad gets off work, so I can help him move some furniture. But until he gets home, might as well play some Skyrim. Alright, so we'll do Hodengirder's house first. We're friends with them, so stuff in here is going to be free to take. But in the meantime, if you're wondering why I'm breaking my lockpicks on purpose, it's for the experience. Well, there's nothing to congratulate me on yet. It's not like I have a job. I had an interview that went well. But, everybody's like, oh my god, congratulations! And I feel a little bit like, if you've watched Arrested Development, you know, the early seasons, the original ones, it feels like that episode where Lindsay gets a job offer and starts, like, treating everybody to dinners and fancy meals and buying a bunch of shit like she's already got the job and the money that comes with the job. None of that has happened yet, so I have to be careful of expectation management. But that said, it's nice to have an interview. It's nice to have had an interview for a position I'm excited about, and I do believe it went well. Well, that's sweet of you, Vix. I think I'm gonna get it. Just, you know, it's kind of the way they, you know, they're little clues in the language that interviewers use. You know, if they're, and this, you know, this comes from studying rhetoric, and it could still go sideways, but, you know, if you listen to the way they talk about it, it's like, if they're not that into you, they'll say things like, well, the position requires this. Can you explain to us how your experience fits into that? Whereas if they are excited about you, they'll say things like, well, this is what you're going to be doing, blah, 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 blah. You know, you'll be working on these projects with these people, you know, because in their head, you already have the job and you're already working for them. And so that's kind of the way they speak. And it was definitely the second way in the interview today. So that's exciting. Olaf and the Dragon. You know me, I read the books. Much to, I think I lost a follower in the Oblivion stream the other day, because he was like, holy shit, he's actually reading all the books. Well, yeah, I read all the books. The books are worth reading, and if you don't want to hang out for that, it's your problem. I'm going to read the books. Olaf and the Dragon by Adonato Liatelli. One of the more colorful legends in Nord folklore is the tale of Olaf One-Eye and Numinex. Long ago in the First Age, a fearsome dragon named Numinex ravaged the whole of Skyrim. The dreadful drake wiped out entire villages, burned cities, and killed countless Nords. It seemed that no power in Tamriel could stop the monster. This was a troubled time in Skyrim's history, for a bitter war of succession raged between the holds. The Jarls might have been able to conquer the beast if they had worked together, but trust was in desperately short supply. A skillful warrior named Olaf came forward and promised to defeat the beast. In some accounts, he is the Jarl of Whiterun. In other versions of the legend, Olaf promises the people of Whiterun that he will capture the monster if they will name him Jarl. Well, thanks, Vix. Thanks, Lemming. I agree. Like, I feel good about it. And the best part is, it's a fully remote freelance writing and editing gig, so I set my own hours and I can still keep creating content here, too. It's not like a full-time ass-in-seat law job. That's gonna fuck up my new awesome COVID schedule of content creation. At any rate, Olaf ventures forth with a handful of his most trusted warriors and seeks the beast out, eventually finding Numinex in his lair atop Mount Anthor. Needless to say, it's an epic battle. First, Olaf comes at the dragon with his axe and his shield. Some variants of the legend say that Olaf and the beast battled with blade and claw for days, but were too evenly matched for either to gain an advantage. Most accounts hold that Olaf, perhaps frustrated that his weapons are completely ineffectual against the dragon, finally casts them aside. Giving voice to the rage that has been building within him, Olaf unleashes a terrible shout. Here again the stories diverge. Many accounts hold that Olaf did not realize he possessed the power of dragon speech, while others suggest that he had long possessed this gift but wished to test himself against the dragon in martial combat first. Virtually all variations of the legend, however, agree on what happened next. Using the awesome powers of the dragon language, Numenex and Olaf engage in an epic shouting duel atop Mount Anthor. So forceful are their words, they are said to shatter the stone and split the sky. Finally, Numenex collapses from a combination of injury and sheer exhaustion. Somehow, and this detail is conspicuously absent in virtually every account, Olaf manages to convey the dragon all the way back to the capital city of Whiterun. The people of Whiterun are suitably impressed with Olaf's hostage. They build a huge stone holding cell at the rear of the palace, which they rename Dragon's Reach. This enormous cell serves as Numenex's prison until his death. Olaf himself eventually becomes the High King of Skyrim, putting an end to the War of Succession. Presumably, his great deed made him the only leader upon whom all the people could agree, and so the land once again has peace. As a visitor to Skyrim, I find this tale both fascinating and highly entertaining. It is one of the most celebrated legends of the Nords, and one can easily understand why. It's a story of surpassing heroism, in which a resourceful and worthy Nord does battle with a truly terrifying adversary, and emerges victorious by yelling him into submission. The only way in which this could have been even more of a Nordic tale would be if Olaf beat Numenex in a drinking contest. The legend is not without its doubters, however. The bard Svaknir, who lived during Olaf's reign, wrote and performed an alliterative verse that challenged Olaf's version of events. Enraged, the High King threw the rebellious bard in prison and destroyed all written copies of the verse. How I would love to lay hands on a copy of that verse. I admit I am immensely curious to know what assertions Svaknir made about how Olaf really defeated Numenex. There are a few ancient bard texts that provide one possible answer. These tomes suggest that Numenex was particularly foul-tempered because he was extremely old. In these accounts, the dragon spends his final years terrorizing the countryside before flying off to the top of Mount Anthor to die in peace. When Olaf finds Numenex, the dragon is too weak to defend himself. Olaf and his men capture the beast without effort, but decide to take advantage of the situation by fabricating a heroic tale. It is worth noting that all of Olaf's warriors who were said to witness the shout duel went on to become wealthy leaders during Olaf's reign as High King. However, it is equally likely that Svaknir had some grudge against Olaf, and his scandalous verse was an attempt to damage the High King's reputation. Alas, we will never know. That's not entirely true. I leave you now, good reader, with this gentle reminder. A good historian must remain impartial and consider all points of view. Time has a way of distorting our record of events, so the closer you can get to the original sources, the better. And we can take that book. Let's take the steel dagger, search the end table, take the gold. Oh, we're not stealing, so I'll take everything. Petty soul gem! Sabercat pelt, those are on the list. We need one more now. Just one more Sabercat pelt to hold on to for Hearthfire crafting. Coin purse. Leave the Iron War Axe, leave the Potion of Haggling. And here's a book of Fury and Holgear. In her 29th summer of life, Fury the Huntress met the warlord Holgear on the field of battle. None remember what they fought over, for their love to come was so great it overshadowed all rivalries or disputes. They fought to a standstill as their followers looked on, till her sword broke his axe and his shield dulled her blade, and all could see that they were equals. As the eagle finds its mates, so too did Fury find hers in Holgear, and the time of peace came to the clans of the forest. But as the summer's warmth gives way to winter's chill, so too would this peace pass. But the snake came and bit Holgear, its venom seeping deep into the wound. A wail greeted Fury's view as she came over the snow-covered mountains to the coast. She obtained an elixir from the Akavir and returned to the forest in haste. Though Holgear could smell the winds of Sovngarde, she gave him the elixir and he was cured in an instant. But the snake bit Fury as she poured the last drop into Holgear's mouth, and fatigued from her journey, she joined the ancestors immediately. Holgear's grief was such that he built a tomb and upon completion took his own life that he might rejoin her. I very much doubt it, Lemon King. Unless it's on the, unless it happens to actually already be on the UESP wiki, I very much doubt it. Okay, here we have a standard bear pelt and a deer hide. Both of those items are on my list. I now need 13 deer hide, and I need 19 total bear pelts, including 9 standard bear pelts. That's 10 for Temba Wide Arm in Iverstead, and the 11 standard are for Hearthfire. Troll Fat. That's on the list. I need 2 of them. Nope, just kidding, I only need 1, and there it is. Wee-hee-hee! Look at us blazing. Erasing things off the list, left and right. I love it. Alright. Thank you, Hod and Girder. We're done here. I think I am gonna do it, Lone Wonder. I think I am. With one notable exception. I'm not sawing my own fucking logs for Hearthfire. I'm gonna buy logs from my steward. You remember when I spent 12 hours doing nothing but sawing logs in the YouTube run? We're not doing that. Never again. I will gladly pay gold for the logs. Alright. Well, Hildy is still stuck here.
I heard Lucan yelling the other day about a thief breaking into a store.
Okay.
Me, honest.
Well, I need Hildy to move. Until she does, might as well do Alvar and Sigrid. No, actually, let's do the inn first. Well, the clay and the stone is easy. I mean,
So I'll go easy on you.
there's always a clay deposit and a stone quarry right at the house. You don't really need to pay for that. The sawn logs are the truly enormous pain in the ass. Now, the interesting thing is we will eventually be friends with these folks. So we'll take the stuff that's free to take for now.
Are you listening?
Hard not to.
The ale is going bad. We need to get a new batch. Did you hear me?
Yep, ale's going bad.
I guess you don't have potatoes in your ears after all. Just make sure we get a fresh batch in soon.
I'm gonna say Delphine's gonna sprint in here like she does. We can read Fall from Glory. We're not friends with them yet, so there's no reason to actually try and steal these books or take them. But the good news is we can read them without it counting against us in any way. So, here's Fall from Glory by Nithilis Lidari. Sometimes, Lemming, that doesn't happen here. You become friends with the Sleeping Giant Inn after you do... Which quest is it? I think it's after you kill the dragon in Kynesgrove, whose name escapes me for the moment. Yeah, it's that segment before diplomatic immunity, when you become friends with Delphine and therefore friends with the inn. Fall from Glory by Nithilis Lidari. The Thieves' Guild of Skyrim is something of an enigma. Within the last few decades, their order has gone from one of the largest, most influential criminal organizations in all of Tamriel to a small group of stragglers barely able to wreak havoc in their home city of Riften. Although evidence that could explain this rapid decline has never surfaced, speculation has run rampant. One theory holds that the guild suffered a loss. It's strongly believed that their guildmaster was slain by one of their own. This guildmaster, known only as Gallus, maintained strong ties with many of the influential families in Skyrim. When he perished, those bonds perished with him. Without these bonds, the guild could no longer safely operate within Skyrim's holds. A second theory suggests that the guild is experiencing some sort of mystical curse, causing normal activities for its members to become exceedingly difficult. While there is no solid evidence to support this theory, the last 2 decades have seen an unusual rise in failed attempts by the guild to execute highly lucrative heists. Reasons for the presence of this supposed curse is being attributed to everything from the aforementioned murder to divine interference. In order to solve this mystery once and for all, I've spent the last 2 years infiltrating the Thieves Guild. Initially making contact with them in Riften proved difficult, as they're quite wary of outsiders. But through repeated efforts I was able to gain their confidence. It's my hope that once I've gained access to some of the guild leadership, I can learn more about their decline and publish a second volume of my work. Although helping the guild perform their petty crimes brands me as a criminal, I feel that it's a burden worth bearing. The mystery of the Thieves Guild's fall from power needs to be solved once and for all as a matter of record and as a footnote to Skyrim's history. Alright. Go somewhere else, Delphine. Because I need that salt, and I also need the coin purse off that desk. Come on out here. Shut up. Gold and a wolf pelt. Nice. Very good. Okay. I think a wolf pelt was still on my list as well. Yep. With that one, I only need 4 more. Hooray. Okay. Now, what does she have that I need, that I want? I want her gold. I want her key and I want her lockpick. These are certainties. Don't really need the rest. Oh, and I suppose I can talk to her.
You're that visitor been poking around. I'm the innkeeper. It's my business to keep track of strangers. We don't get a lot of travelers here in Riverwood. The war keeps most folks away these days. Most of my customers are locals, come here to relax after a hard day's toil. So what's your story? Just here to relax? You look like you could use an ale. If you're staying the night, I've got a free room. Wanderer like you must have quite an appetite. Some food?
Heard any rumors lately?
Word is Ulfric Stormcloak escaped from the Imperials. War is only going to get worse now.
And that's it for her. Okay, so we can check the bedrooms. For some reason, she doesn't care if we wander in here. Generally. Alright, The Great War. That's a new book. Read it, no need to steal it. Also a significant one. Lots of development of the lore between Oblivion and this game. A concise account of the Great War between the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion by Legate Justianus Quintius. Author's note. Much of what is written in this book is pieced together from documents captured from the enemy during the war, interrogation of prisoners, and eyewitness accounts from surviving soldiers and Imperial officers. I myself commanded the 10th Legion in Hammerfell and Cyrodiil until I was wounded in 175 during the assault on the Imperial city. That said, the full truth of some events may never be known. I have done my best to fill in the gaps with educated conjectures based on my experience as well as my hard-earned knowledge of the enemy. The rise of the Thalmor. Although it is not well known, Somerset Isle suffered from the Oblivion Crisis as much as Cyrodiil did. The elves made war upon the Oblivion invaders, occasionally even crossing over to close down Oblivion gates. As a nation, they had more successes than Cyrodiil did, although the limitless Daedric hordes made the outcome a foregone conclusion. The Thalmor had always been a powerful faction within Somerset Isle, but had also always been a minority voice. During the Crisis, the Crystal Tower was forced to give the Thalmor greater power and authority. Their efforts almost certainly saved Somerset Isle from being overrun. They capitalized on their success to seize total control in 4th Era 22. They renamed the nation Alinor, which harkens back to an earlier age before the ascendancy of man. Most people outside of the Aldmeri Dominion still call it Somerset Isle, either out of peevishness or ignorance. In 4th Era 29, the government of Valenwood was overthrown by Thalmor collaborators, and a union with Alinor proclaimed. It appears that Thalmor agents had formed close ties to certain Bosmeri factions even before the Oblivion Crisis. The Empire and its Bosmer allies, caught completely off guard, were quickly defeated by the much better prepared Altmer forces that invaded Valenwood on the heels of the coup. Thus was the Aldmeri Dominion reborn. Shortly afterward, the Aldmeri Dominion severed all contact with the Empire. For 70 years, they were silent. Most scholars believe there was some sort of internal strife in Alinor, but very little is known of the factional struggles that went on inside the Dominion, while the Thalmor consolidated its power in Somerset and Valenwood. In 4th Era 98, the two moons, Massor and Secunda, vanished. Within most of the Empire, this was viewed with trepidation and fear. In elsewhere, it was far worse. Culturally, the moons are much more influential to the Khajiit. After 2 years of the Void Nights, the moons returned. The Thalmor announced that they had restored the moons using previously unknown dawn magics, but it is unclear if they truly restored the moons or just took advantage of foreknowledge that they would return. Regardless of the truth of the matter, the Khajiit credited the Thalmor as their saviors. Within 15 years, imperial influence in elsewhere had so diminished that the Empire was unable to respond effectively to the coup of 4th Era 115, which dissolved the Elsewhere Confederacy and recreated the ancient kingdoms of Anequina and Palatine as client states of the Aldmeri Dominion. Once more, the Empire failed to stop the advance of Thalmor power. When Titus Mede II ascended the throne in 4th Era 168, he inherited a weakened empire. The glory days of the Septims were a distant memory. Valenwood and elsewhere were gone, ceded to the Thalmor enemy. Black Marsh had been lost to Imperial rule since the aftermath of the Oblivion Crisis. Morrowind had never recovered fully from the eruption of Mount Vardenfell. Hammerfell was plagued by infighting between crowns and forebears. Only High Rock, Cyrodiil, and Skyrim remained prosperous and peaceful. Emperor Titus Mede had only a few short years to consolidate his rule before his leadership was put to the ultimate test. The war begins. On the 30th of Frostfall, 4th Era 171, the Aldmeri Dominion sent an ambassador to the Imperial City with a gift in a covered cart and an ultimatum for the new emperor. The long list of demands included staggering tributes, disbandment of the Blades, outlawing the worship of Talos, and ceding large sections of Hammerfell to the Dominion. Despite the warnings of his generals of the Empire's military weakness, Emperor Titus Mede II rejected the ultimatum. The Thalmor ambassador upended the cart, spilling over 100 heads on the floor, every Blades agent in Somerset and Valenwood. And so began the Great War, which would consume the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion for the next 5 years. Within days, Aldmeri armies invaded Hammerfell and Cyrodiil simultaneously. A strong force commanded by the Thalmor general Lord Narathin attacked Cyrodiil from the south, marching out of hidden camps in northern elsewhere and flanking the Imperial defenses along the Valenwood border. Leowyn soon fell to the invaders, while Breville was cut off and besieged. At the same time, an Aldmeri army under Lady Aranelia crossed into western Cyrodiil from Valenwood, bypassing Anvil and Kvatch and crossing into Hammerfell. Smaller Aldmeri forces landed along the southern coastline of Hammerfell. The disunited Redguard forces offered only scattered resistance to the invaders, and much of the southern coastline was quickly overrun. The greatly outnumbered Imperial legions retreated across the Alikir Desert in the now famous March of Thirst. 4th Era 172 to 173, the Aldmeri advance into Cyrodiil. It appears now that the initial Aldmeri objective was in fact the conquest of Hammerfell, and that the invasion of Cyrodiil was intended only to pin down the Imperial legions while Hammerfell was overrun. However, the surprising initial success of Lord Narafin's attack led the Thalmor to believe that the Empire was weaker than they had thought. The capture of the Imperial city itself and the complete overthrow of the Empire thus became their primary objective of the next 2 years. As we know, the Thalmor nearly achieved their objective. It was only because of our Emperor's determined leadership during the Empire's darkest hour that this disaster was averted. During 40172, the Aldmeri advanced deeper into Cyrodiil. Breville and Anvil both fell to the invaders. By the end of the year, Lord Narafin had advanced to the very walls of the Imperial city. There were fierce naval clashes in Lake Rumari and along the Niben as the Imperial forces attempted to hold the eastern bank. In Hammerfell, the Thalmor were content to consolidate their gains as they took control of the whole southern coastline, which was in fact their stated objective in the ultimatum delivered to the Emperor. Of the southern cities, only Hegathe still held out. The survivors of the March of Thirst regrouped in northern Hammerfell, joined by reinforcements from High Rock. The year 40173 saw stiffening Imperial resistance in Cyrodiil, but the seemingly inexorable Aldmeri advance continued. Fresh legions from Skyrim bolstered the Emperor's main army in the Imperial city, but the Aldmeri forced the crossing of the Niben and began advancing in force up the eastern bank. By the end of the year, the Imperial city was surrounded on 3 sides. Only the northern supply route to Bruma remained open. In Hammerfell, Imperial fortunes took a turn for the better. In early 40173, a 4-bear army from Sentinel broke the siege of Hegathe, a crown city, leading to the reconciliation of the two factions. Despite this, Lady Aranelia's main army succeeded in crossing the Alikir Desert. The Imperial legions under General Decianus met them outside Skaven in a bloody and indecisive clash. Decianus withdrew and left Aranelia in possession of Skaven, but the Aldmeri were too weakened to continue their advance. 40174, the sack of the Imperial city. In 40174, the Thalmor leadership committed all available forces to the campaign in Cyrodiil, gambling on a decisive victory to end the war once and for all. During the spring, Aldmeri reinforcements gathered in southern Cyrodiil, and on 12th of Second Seed, they launched a massive assault on the Imperial city itself. One army drove north to completely surround the city, while Lord Narafin's main force attacked the walls from the south, east, and west. The Emperor's decision to fight his way out of the city rather than make a last stand was a bold one. No general dared advise him to abandon the capital, but Titus II was proven right in the end. While the 8th Legion fought a desperate and doomed rearguard action on the walls of the city, Titus II broke out of the city to the north with his main army, smashing through the surrounding Aldmeri forces and linking up with the reinforcements marching south from Skyrim under General Jonna. Meanwhile, however, the capital fell to the invaders and the infamous sack of the Imperial city began. The Imperial Palace was burned, the White Gold Tower itself looted, and all manner of atrocities carried out by the vengeful elves on the innocent populace. In Hammerfell, General Decianus was preparing to drive the Aldmeri back from Skaven when he was ordered to march for Cyrodiil. Unwilling to abandon Hammerfell completely, he allowed a great number of invalids to be discharged from the legions before they marched east. These veterans formed the core of the army that eventually drove Lady Aranelia's forces back across the Alikir late in 174, taking heavy losses on their retreat from harassing attacks by the Alikir warriors. 40175, the Battle of the Red Ring. During the winter of 40174 to 175, the Thalmor seemed to have believed that the war in Cyrodiil was all but over. They made several attempts to negotiate with Titus II. The Emperor encouraged them in their belief that he was preparing to surrender. Meanwhile, he gathered his forces to retake the Imperial city. In what is now known as the Battle of the Red Ring, a battle that will serve as a model for Imperial strategists for generations to come, Titus II divided his forces into 3. On one army, the legions from Hammerfell under General Decianus was hidden in the Colovian highlands near Coral. The Aldmeri were unaware that he was no longer in Hammerfell, possibly because the Imperial veterans Decianus had left behind led Lady Aranelia to believe that she still faced an Imperial army. The second army, largely of Nord legions under General Jonna, took up position near Cheydinhal. The main army was commanded by the Emperor himself, and would undertake the main assault of the Imperial city from the north. On the 30th of Rain's Hand, the bloody Battle of the Red Ring began as General Decianus swept down on the city from the west, while General Jonna's legionnaires drove south along the Red Ring Road. In a 2-day assault, Jonna's army crossed the Niben and advanced west, attempting to link up with Decianus's legions and thus surround the Imperial city. Lord Narafin was taken by surprise by Decianus' assault, but Janna's troops faced bitter resistance as the Aldmeri counterattacked from Breville and Skingrad. The heroic Nord legionnaires held firm, however, beating off the piecemeal Aldmeri attacks. By the 5th day of the battle, the Aldmeri army in the Imperial City was surrounded. Titus II led the assault from the north, personally capturing Lord Narafin. It is rumored the Emperor wielded the famed sword Goldbrand, although this has never been officially confirmed by the Imperial government. An attempt by the Aldmeri to break out of the city to the south was blocked by the unbreakable shield wall of General Janna's battered legions. In the end, the main Aldmeri army in Cyrodiil was completely destroyed. The Emperor's decision to withdraw from the Imperial City in 40174 was bloodily vindicated. Lord Narafin was kept alive for 33 days, hanging from the White Gold Tower. It is not recorded where his body was buried, if it was buried at all. One source claims he was carried off by a winged Daedra on the 34th day. Hi, Sana. Good to see you. Welcome back. Always a pleasure. How are you, my friend? The White Gold Concordat and the end of the war. Although victorious, the Imperial armies were in no shape to continue the war. The entire remaining Imperial force was gathered in Cyrodiil, exhausted and decimated by the Battle of the Red Ring. Not a single legion had more than half its soldiers fit for duty. 2 legions had been effectively annihilated, not counting the loss of the 8th during the retreat from the Imperial City the previous year. Titus II knew that there would be no better time to negotiate peace, and late in 40175 the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion signed the White Gold Concordat, ending the Great War. The terms were harsh, but Titus II believed that it was necessary to secure peace and give the Empire a chance to regain its strength. The 2 most controversial terms of the Concordat were the banning of the worship of Talos and the cession of a large section of southern Hammerfell, most of what was already occupied by Aldmeri forces. Critics have pointed out that the Concordat is almost identical to the ultimatum the Emperor rejected 5 years earlier. However, there is a great difference between agreeing to such terms under the mere threat of war and agreeing to them at the end of a long and destructive war. No part of the Empire would have accepted these terms in 40171, dictated by the Thalmor at Sword's Point. Titus II would have faced civil war. By 40175, most of the Empire welcomed peace at almost any price. Epilogue. Hammerfell fights on alone. Hammerfell, however, refused to accept the White Gold Concordat, being unwilling to concede defeat and the loss of so much of their territory. Titus II was forced to officially renounce Hammerfell as an imperial province in order to preserve the hard-won peace treaty. The Red Guards, understandably, looked on this as a betrayal. In this, the Thalmor certainly achieved one of their long-term goals by sowing lasting bitterness between Hammerfell and the Empire. In the end, the heroic Red Guards fought the Aldmeri Dominion to a standstill, although the war lasted for 5 more years and left southern Hammerfell devastated. The Red Guards say that this proves that the White Gold Concordat was unnecessary, and that if Titus II had kept his nerve, the Aldmeri could have been truly defeated by the combined forces of Hammerfell and the rest of the Empire. The truth of that assertion can of course never be known, but the Red Guards should not forget the great sacrifice of Imperial blood, Breton, Nord, and Cyrodiilic, at the Battle of the Red Ring that weakened the Dominion enough to allow the eventual Second Treaty of Stros-Mackay in 40180 and the withdrawal of Aldmeri forces from Hammerfell. There can be no doubt that the current peace cannot last forever. The Thalmor take the long view, as is proved by the sequence of events leading up to the Great War. All those who value freedom over tyranny can only hope that before it is too late, Hammerfell and the Empire will be reconciled and stand united against the Thalmor threat. Otherwise, any hope to stem the tide of Thalmor rule over all of Tamriel is dimmed. Truly. Alright. Let's check the other bedroom. Check over here behind Orgnar. Take anything we are currently able to take.
We got rooms and food. Drink, too. I cook. Ain't much else to tell.
Oh, settle down, Delphine. There be dragons. This one's not as long. Not that I care. Hope you don't either. Y'all know my shtick by now. Take that one off the list. There Be Dragons by Torhall Bjork. The last known sighting of a dragon in Tamriel was in the time of Tiber Septim. He made a pact with the few remaining dragons, swearing to protect them if they would serve him. Despite his promise, dragons were still hunted and slain. It's not clear if the last ones fled Tamriel or if they were exterminated. There is no credible story of how dragons came to be. According to Dromora that the College of Whispers have questioned, they just were, and are. Eternal, immortal, unchanging, and unyielding. They are not born or hatched, they do not mate or breed. There are no known examples of dragon eggs or dragonlings. The Iliac Bay area has stories of such things, but so far all have proven false. The eggs turned out to be eggs of other reptiles. The small dragons were merely oversized lizards, and no relation to true dragons. Although they are not born, dragons can die. During the Dragon War of the Merethic era, their numbers were decimated. The Akaviri invaders of the late First Era are said to have hunted and killed scores of them, before and after their defeat by Emperor Riemann. Some sources say the Akaviri brought over dragon-killing spells. Others claim they built cunning traps. One tale even speaks of a rare poison. It is well accepted that a dragon's most fearsome weapon is its fiery breath. Because they could fly overhead and rain down flaming death, archers and wizards were necessary when hunting them. It is less well known that some dragons could breathe a freezing spray of frost. The reports indicate that dragons might do one or the other, but not both. Most people think of dragons as mere beasts. However, logically they must have had language in order for Tiber Septim to have negotiated with them. Indeed, the historical record is quite clear that dragons were highly intelligent. They had their own language, but could also speak the languages of men and elves. The records of Riemann's hunts contain reports of dragons that breathe or spit fire. Recently, some were unearthed that described dragons blowing freezing blasts of cold. The more fanciful tales have them summoning storms and even stopping time. These should be discounted as myths and fairy tales. Even without this most fearsome weapon, their nearly impenetrable hide and granite-like teeth and claws made them terrifying opponents. There is some confusion over when the last dragon was killed. It seems the last few vanished all at once. Some tales speak of a dragon king who devoured all of them rather than let mankind kill them. One of the more far-fetched stories has Tiber Septim absorbing their essences when he ascended to godhood. Although the exact cause is unknown, they are all gone. No dragon has been seen for centuries. There are a few known examples of dragon bones fused with the stone and rocks of cliffs and caves, just enough proof to make the stories undeniable. Alright. Let's pick Orgnar's pocket. I want his gold.
You're not...
What can you do? Want his key. Want his lockpick.
Careful with that.
Man, I hate the way Delphine is so aggro.
Need a room? Talk to Delphine.
You're that visitor been poking around.
It's alright. This is nearly everything I need.
I'm just the cook, lad.
One last coin. Then we can chat with Orgnar.
I ain't looking to make friends.
Alright, there we go.
You like skeever liver? No? Tough luck.
Sounds good, Sauna.
Food's hot. Never said it was good. Yeah?
Can I use the alchemy lab?
Long as you clean up. You know how to use it, right? Mix a couple of ingredients together, see what happens. A little wheat and blisterwort makes a healing potion, if you didn't know. We have plenty of ingredients for sale, too.
I'm looking for work. Got any leads?
Here, take a look at this. Some of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter.
Kill the bandit leader, located at Valtheim Keep. Heard any rumors lately?
There have been whispers. A boy up in Windhelm, name of Aventus Aretino, been trying to contact the Dark Brotherhood.
Talk to Aventus Aretino. Heard any rumors lately?
Have you seen that shrine of Azura? They say the Dark Elves built it after they fled from Morrowind. Sight to see.
Visit the Shrine of Azura. Have you heard any rumors?
Lucan at the Riverwood trader had his store broken into the other night. Oddly enough, barely anything's been stolen.
Heard any rumors lately?
We've got something of a love triangle here in Riverwood. Faendal and Sven, both vying for Camilla's affections.
Where can I learn more about magic?
Looking to blow yourself up? I hear that's what magic does to you. There's a college in Winterhold that teaches magic, unless that blew up too. Be a lot safer just to have the Jarl's wizard teach you a thing or two.
Heard any rumors lately? Visit the College of Winterhold. Heard any rumors lately?
Nobody trusts those mages way up north at their college. Gods only know what they do up there.
Nice.
Until next time.
Thank you, Orgnar.
You're that visitor been poking around.
Alright, I need these ingredients as well. Got them. Okay. We're done in here for now, except, let me go ahead and arm these, and we're gonna read the bounty note right quick. Bounty, by order of Balgruf the Greater. To all able-bodied men and women of Whiterun, the bandits located in Valtheim Keep have been harassing, robbing, and attacking citizens and visitors. A reward will be offered to anyone who kills their leader, Preventa Savinici. Very nice. Okay. So I actually have that note. It's one of 4 that you can get on my list, so 3 to go. And let's go ahead and craft a potion. This is a good one, actually. Poison of damage, magicka regen. I'm not doing a full-blown alchemy session. But that got us Fortify Health on Blue Mountain Flower and Hanging Moss. And we have completed a little miscellaneous quest, the alchemy tutorial, by crafting a potion. That's nice, isn't it? I think so. Make note of those effects on... Fortify Health was the final effect on Blue Mountain Flower. And that's 3 out of 4 on Hanging Moss. Alright, very good. That'll do it for the inn. We'll be back here for a formal alchemy session later before we leave town. Now, there's still Sven and Hildy's house to deal with. And then there's Alvor's smithy. And there's the Riverwood trader.
I heard Lucan yelling the other day about a thief breaking into a store. It wasn't me, honest.
Hildy is still parked right freaking there. And apparently is just never ever going to leave. Alright, do the smithy next. Talk to Dorothy first.
Papas isn't too friendly with strangers, but you seem alright. My father is Alvor, the blacksmith. I'm his assistant. I mean apprentice. Someday, I'm going to forge my own sword. Papa says I'm not ready for weapons, so I make lots of horseshoes and hobnails. Mama doesn't think I'm girlish enough, but that's just stupid girl talk. Papa may have wanted a son, but he got me. He's a lucky man. Ain't nothing a boy can do that I can't do better.
Probably Lone Wonder. It doesn't really matter, though. We can kill time elsewhere. Alright, snowberries, as we know, are on my list. How many more do I need? Glad you asked. I need 11 more. Alright, Hadvar, can finally pick your pocket. The only thing you've got that I even need is the key to Alvar's house.
Come back here.
Pickpocket to 24, and I can work through his dialogue, too.
I hope that dragon isn't still flying around there somewhere. I still almost can't believe it. A real live dragon. What do you need?
Alright, that's it for him. So you can see we're already friends here, so let's take everything that's free to take. I'm gonna leave Alvor for last, just because he moves the story along and kicks off a few other things as well.
Huh?
What are you doing, Sigrid? I don't need his steel sword. Don't need the iron shield. I will pick Sigrid's pocket and speak to her right quick. Key to Alvar's house. Oh, for the love. You're killing me. There we go. Let's talk to her.
I'm spoken for, you know, so don't get any ideas. And Alvar and I, we got a daughter, little Dorothy. My girl likes to work the forge with her papa. Farewell. All of that blacksmithing. It's not good for a little girl. Ain't ladylike. Good. Dorothy needs to spend more time in the garden. I could use the help. It don't matter what I grow. My Alvar, he'll eat anything. Until... maybe I'll do turnips next. Or maybe radishes. And...
What do you think about the war?
I just hope the war doesn't come to Riverwood. There's enough trouble in the world without those stormcloaks stirring up more.
Fair enough.
Farewell.
A Gentleman's Guide to Whiterun. That one's new. Just give me a moment to get it off the list, and we'll give her a read. A Gentleman's Guide to Whiterun by Mikhail the Bard. Welcome, good sir, to this indispensable guide. Within these pages, I, your humble author and guide, will describe to you the great city of Whiterun, the jewel of the north. Whiterun offers numerous diversions for the man in search of adventure, fortune, and companionship, whether for a night or for a lifetime. The city is graced with not one but two worthy taverns, and there are maids and wenches aplenty. The city is located rather centrally in Skyrim, and this is well, for it is not far from anywhere. Perched high upon a rocky hill, Whiterun dominates the grassy plains that surround it. High wooden walls protect its denizens from the wolves, mammoths, bandits, and other dangers lurking beyond. When you first enter through the city's main gate, you will find yourself in the Plains District. This is so named because it is the lowest of the city's three neighborhoods. Ah, but here can be found the Bannered Mare, which I count among the finest taverns in all Skyrim. The scenery within is quite compelling if you have an eye for the fairer sex. A stout lass named Hulda tends the bar. Don't let that stony Nord exterior fool you, for she is possessed of that same fiery passion that all Nord women try so hard to conceal. Sadia, the barmaid, is an exotic Redguard beauty. She is quite mysterious, and your humble author is determined to learn her secrets. Outside the Bannered Mare is a modest marketplace, and here is where I found true love. Though I would never deter a fellow hunting hound from the chase, for indeed, why should I author these tomes if not to provide guidance in this very matter? I must ask that you do me this one kindness. Her name is Carlotta Valentia, and she is a magnificent beauty who makes a modest living selling bread and produce in the daylight hours. By the gods, I will make that feisty beauty mine someday. And of course, there are other services to be found in the Plains District. Bellathor's General Goods offers various and sundry wares for the adventurous traveler, and Arcadia's Cauldron offers what tonics and herbs one would expect from an apothecary's shop. Arcadia herself is an amiable sort. I often visit her to make conversation, as she is a fellow Imperial far from home. She is, however, a bit old for my taste. A gentleman of advanced years might find in her a worthy companion. Should you need your blade sharpened or your armor hammered, War Maidens offer smithing services very near the main gate. The smith is a pretty Nord named Adriana Avenici, but she is married to a great hulking brute named Ulfberth Warbear. Adrienne is quite fair, but I should not want to find myself being introduced to the keen edge of that husband's war axe. If married ladies are your preferred sport, then have at, but don't say that you weren't warned. Near to the smith is the drunken huntsman. Here some of the wealthier gentlemen gather to share both drink and rumors of the wide world. If you prefer a more distinguished class of company while you sip fine wine, you'll be well at home here. Of the Wind District, I have little to say. Most of the buildings in this second tier of the city are residences, though there is also a Temple of Kinnereth and Jorvaskr, the Mead Hall of the Companions. There are some intriguing prospects to be found in the Mead Hall, should you favor a strong and fearless warrior woman. You will find little game at the temple, however. The priestess, Danica Purespring, is interested almost exclusively in spiritual matters. A skeevy pig's guide to Whiterun. No kidding. At last we come to the Cloud District. Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Exclusive domain of the Jarl's Castle. I have had some merry adventures within the stone walls of Dragon's Reach, let me tell you. The serving girls are most easily impressed by a well-spoken Imperial. After all, the nights in Skyrim do grow quite cold, if you take my meaning. And I will not deny that I have visited the town's jail once or twice, which can be found in the lower levels of the palace. As for the Jarl and his court, take pains to avoid them. I find that they lack any sense of humor or appreciation for the Imperial culture. Besides which, they are all wealthy men, and so must be viewed as your most serious competition. These Nords are simple folk, after all, and are too easily swayed by the sight of fine clothes and a purse full of septims. Now I will conclude this work by wishing you great success in your pursuits of women and wine. Spare a moment in your revels to think of me, your humble author, and the risks I have taken to bring you this most thorough report of on all things of interest to the discerning gentlemen in the grand city of Whiterun. But I will not lie and say that it was all a hardship. After all, who could want to sleep alone in such a cold and hard land as this? Not I. Alright, let's go downstairs. There's some stuff to be had. I actually need 2 mammoth tusks for various quests later on. Oh no. Oh no, much crash. What happened? I can't tell exactly what happened. It seems my display just died. That was 1 mammoth tusk and 1 wolf pelt. I wonder if I can't even tell if the stream is still working. Like, it looks like it is. Oh, here we go. That was really weird. No, Streamlabs is the thing that locked and apparently crashed. Looks like it may have been a memory glitch. Oh, this is my fucking favorite. When my stream crashes just because. Like, literally just fucking because. I didn't do anything.